Hi, Stuart Barn here, and this is a video on string muting. String muting is really important for electric guitarists, particularly if you play with overdrive. Most of us discover fairly early on when we play phrases, maybe your bog standard blues rock licks like this, that without muting this happens. You get this horrible open G string or other strings. So the way you get around that is, instead of going with your first finger tip on the B string, you just use your fingerprint. Now that means that I can then touch with my fingertip the G string above. So this acts as a buffer, it just snaps back. Same thing if I was doing it on here, on the B string. My first finger is constantly placed there. So if that's a new thing for you, then you're going to have to just get used to that. It might feel a bit strange using your fingerprint to fret the strings, especially if you are from a classical background where we usually play fingertips. But that is the way to do it, especially if you're playing with overdrive. So that is one important part of muting or way of muting. The more general one, which we should do, is this. If we are going to play the A minor pentatonic scale, I'm just going to put a drive on here. The A minor pentatonic scale. Now if I play that without thinking about muting at all, this happens. Horrible. So we have to find a way to get around that, and this is how you do it. Instead of using fingertips, we start with the fingerprint. Now already I am actually muting, well, almost completely those things. So I'm touching all 5 of those other strings with the underneath of my first finger. Next note, nothing really changes there. Then this is the crucial one. For the A string, I'm going to use my fingerprint, much like I did in the Chuck Berry style lick a moment ago, so that I'm touching the string above and the ones below. So I'm actually only getting one note when I strum all 6 strings. So if this is a new thing for you, then you need to practice just that. And I would suggest just going making sure that you're touching those adjacent strings, and in fact all those strings, every single time. Okay, so we've got 3 notes so far. Next is that string, and then it will be the D string again, fingerprint, touching with your tip the string above and the ones below. However, there is a problem here. Now this string is not being muted because we're no longer there. So this is where the right hand has to come in. We must now sit on the E string, so we are muting it. For me, it is sort of like the thigh bit of my thumb that is doing that. So that's crucial now. Now you may even find yourself just partially muting the A string. That's not a bad thing. You've then got 2 chances of muting probably the most important string, the one that you had just left. Okay, so from the beginning, fingerprint on the A string, fingertip touching the E string, possibly touching with my right hand as well. Then the D string. Now I must touch the E string with my right hand and possibly the A string, still with my fingertip on the one above. Continuing. G string. My right hand moves down a little bit so that I'm now definitely covering the 2 thickest strings, possibly the 3rd. First fingertip touching the D string, and then just continue that down, gradually moving your right hand down. So now if I play that A minor pentatonic scale, it should be nice and clean. Apart from my dodgy timing. That's better, nice and clean. So going backwards is not so hard. We really are just gradually revealing the strings there. We still tend to touch with the fingertip above, but it's less important because you haven't just been playing those strings, whereas going that way, you had been. I hope it all makes sense. If it's a new area to you, I promise you this is well worth the effort. Get a new practice regime, do it loads, and try and get it into your playing as soon as possible. I hope you found the video helpful. Please click like and subscribe if you did, and feel free to share. See you in the next video.